The first story is as follows. I was assigned as a project manager for the installation of a whole audiovisual solution for an office complex. Well, not the whole building, but like 2 or 3 floors. The building was already made, but it was in its bare bones, just floors, ceiling, and elevators. A big pharma company bought 3 floors of this building and decided to make these their new offices. I was assigned as part of an engineers committee, very scared as this was my first time leading a project with them, and also I was 21 years old. The story is from my first meeting with the committee at the building itself, like an introduction to the staff and to my future techs and the construction workers team. I got the building in my work clothes, safety boots, hard hats, and my bag with my tools, showed my company's badge, and was allowed to get in. I get the floor where the meeting was being held, and the foreman of the construction receives me very harshly. In front of everyone, he says, "Who are you? Are you the new guy? You were late. Work here starts at 6 a.m. Sorry, I was appointed to a meeting with lead architect at 10 a.m. I'm not one of your workers. I'm here for a meeting and the blueprints revision. Don't with my kiddo. Let me call LA to see what's going on." Got on the phone with the LA and she comes angry to the lobby. "What is going on? Sorry for this harsh reception, man. Please come in. We've been waiting for you." So basically the project manager, was his boss now, and he has to do whatever I wanted on my time schedule. Revenge is so sweet, and the hypocrisy of this man when we worked together was incredible. I had to work about 40 hours daily, and guess who else had to work with me? I indeed work here, man. I'm your temporary boss. The next story is as follows. Here is a story from a while back. I don't remember everything, but I'll try my best to recount everything. About 10 years ago, my friends and I began our own startup. I was the CMO at the time. Within 2 years, we had over 100 employees and still growing. Between me, the CEO, CDO, and COO, there were 2 executive assistants helping us. However, they were getting overworked and pulling 12 or more hour days because of us. So we decided to hire 2 more assistants so that each of us would have 1. One of the new exec assistants was assigned to CEO. We'll call her Karen. For some reason, Karen thought she was in charge of the other exec assistants because she was under the CEO. Technically, they were all peers, but Karen assumed she had seniority. Within a week, she was bossing all of the assistants around and making them do her work. I was out of town at the time, but my assistant, a lady that was with us for the longest, let me know what was going on. I had just come back from a week at a conference. I was meaning to take the money off, but we had a meeting that Monday with our investors, and I couldn't miss it. I show up at the office around 8:30. I'm coming in from the gym. I greet a few people. I go over to my desk to drop off my bags and then change. As I headed to the bathroom, Karen comes around the corner. "There's one thing you need to know about me. I have a baby face, so I look at least 10 years younger than I really am. I was in my early 30s at the time, but I look like I could have graduated university that year. Can I help you?" "Hi, you must be Karen. Yes, I am. And you are?" "Well, I am operator." "You are operator? Don't be ridiculous, kid. You are barely old enough to rent a car. Stop joking. Tell me what you are doing here. I call for security." "Karen, I am operator, the CMO." "I know who the CMO is, and he's not you. He is a personal friend of mine, and I know the entire founding team for quite some time, so you can't lie to me. Show me your ID." My ID was back at my office. "Fine, follow me." As we head over to my desk, I reach for my wallet and Karen snatches it before I can even open it and exclaimed I shouldn't be grabbing things from the CMO's desk. Just then, the CEO walks in. CEO, you won't believe what just happened. I caught this crazy person pretending to be the CMO and stealing from his desk. CEO looks over at me and I just give him, yes, this is happening. Look. Can you tell me exactly what happened? Karen goes on a long round about how I broke in here and was looking around all the desks for something to take when she finally caught me trying to take the wallet. The CEO asks Karen to check to make sure nothing is missing from CMO's wallet. She opens it up and on the front of it is my driver's license. I can see her pupils scanning my ID and her eyes getting wider and wider, and then her mouth drops. So, can I have my wallet back now? Karen damn near has a heart attack and basically is too flustered to say anything. The CEO dismissed her and cracked a few jokes to ease the situation, and we break into a huge laugh and we chat a bit about Karen. Turns out everyone has been complaining about her. At first, the CEO was just going to reprimand her and tell her she needs to change, but after the debacle this morning, he wanted to let her go. I felt kind of bad. I didn't want her hired because of me. I didn't want to be known as that person. We ended up letting her stay for another week. She avoided me like the plague but kept making everyone else's lives miserable. We let her go that Friday. However, as they say, she did not go quietly into that good night. After the CEO gave her the bad news, she was pissed and came straight to me. She basically tapped me on the shoulders while I had headphones on and started screaming at me about how it was an honest mistake what happened between us and how the place would fall apart without her around. The Karen scream is long and fierce, but around 2 minutes I had had enough. Karen, that is enough out of you. Regardless of what you think, your departure from this company was not my doing. But it was the icing on the cake. The whole office has come in conflict with you in the past and you have been bossing way too many people around when you have no authority over them. The other assistants do not report to you and I have heard nothing but complaints about you in 2 weeks you have been here. Now you can either walk out of here peacefully or I can get security to do it. Karen was bright red at this point. The entire office has stopped work to listen. My assistant comes over with Karen's purse and her belongings and then shoves them in Karen's arms. As Karen walks out, she yells back that we'll be hearing from the lawyer. We didn't hear anything. The next story is titled, I am the tray operator, sir. Insert obligatory. English not first language, automobile. Excuse here. This happened a few months ago during the €9 ticket era. For those of you not familiar with it, here in Germany, we had a ticket valid for all public transportations for 3 months after the gas prices exploded due to the war in the Ukraine. €9 for a month worth of transportation via bus and trains. Needless to say, our trains were up to their limits. This occasion was no different. The train I previously operated was late due to the amount of passengers at each station along with technical difficulties. Doors had malfunctions. Our trains have a safety mechanism where we can't take off until the computer receives the electric signal that the doors are shut. Easy fix. But doing it at every station due to people leaning against it, it sucks. So I was about 5 minutes late for the next trains I had to take over. As I rushed over to get to said train, I noticed it was full to its limits too. The problem now is we can only get into the operator cabin by going through the passenger cabin. After a long sigh, I pushed the little green button at the door to get in. A wall of passengers greeted me with annoyed and angry looks. The following conversation, not verbatim but close enough, ensured. Note, I was wearing my full uniform along with my orange high visibility vest. Me is me. Edgy is angry guy. Excuse me, I need to get in. Train's full, take the next one. No, can do. This train isn't going anywhere without me in it. Train's full, fuck off. Sir, I meant it. Let me in or this train stays here. Fuck you. Take the next train. This one's full. Now go away before I break your nose. At this point, I looked at him and gave a note stepping back from the train and calling my dispatcher. His word, well, if you are still there in 30 minutes, I will mark the train as out of service. About 5 more minutes went by with me standing outside the train before the door opens and an angry guy looked out, calling for me. Probably because he finally noticed my uniform. I stepped over. Hey, the operator isn't here. Where is he? Oh, he's here. Where? The cabin is empty. I am the operator, sir. Why the hell didn't you say that? Sir, I told you the train isn't going anywhere without me. Plus, after you threatened me, I didn't feel comfortable talking to you anymore. Now, if you'd kind, step out along with all the people in front of the cabin door so I can get in and we can take off. I would appreciate it. He didn't say anything else. He and about 12 other people had to step out. I finally got in and we left the station with a 30 minutes delay. To clarify a few things, this wasn't in Berlin. It was in a more rural area here in Germany. It wasn't with the DB, but a smaller company. Was it petty? Yes. Honestly, for 3 months straight, we dealt with all kinds of people. Being yelled at constantly. It took a toll on all of us. Was it an asshole move? Maybe. Unprofessional? No, I am not required to tell people who I am. I wore my uniform identifying me as a member of my company. Rules dictate that passengers have to follow orders given by members of staff, be it operators or service or maintenance staff. Once the threat was spoken, I wasn't required to talk to that angry guy at all. Did I get in trouble? No, company is on my side. The next story is as follows. Some time ago, probably around 2010, I worked for a pizza franchise. There was a manager on vacation at a location I did not work at, so I was asked to fill in the time for them on my regular days off. The franchise found out that I would be working at that store and asked me on the second day. I was there to do a full audit of the store because she was suspicious that people were giving her incorrect numbers. So because this audit took a while, I was leaving the pizza place at 2 a.m. Another important detail is I did not have a key to the front of the place, only to the back, so I parked behind the store, left, locked the back door, and started to drive off. When I got to the exit of the parking lot, there was a sheriff car going 3 to 5 miles per hour in the right turn lane that turned into the place I was working. He was going so slow, I had enough time to consider pulling in front of him several times, but I decided to just sit there and thought, maybe he is on his computer, and as soon as I pull out, he would zip to full speed. This sheriff car turns right into the parking lot I am pulling out of. I pull out and see the sheriff car turn around in the parking lot and get right behind me. He turned on his red and blue lights right as we were getting to a McDonald's. I was like, oh shit, why? I pull into McDonald's and go into the first available parking space, turn my dome light on, roll down the window. Literally rolled down the window. My car did not have power windows. He comes up to me asking, what were you doing in that parking lot? I pointed to the pizza company logo on my shirt. After explaining to him and showing proof and the keys to the place, the guy is a little nicer. Oh, people have been robbing businesses in this strip mall. Sorry to do that. I thanked him for considering our safety, and then I went on my way. The next story is titled as Don't Want to Pay Me for My Work. Let me remind you of our contract terms. So, back in the day, I worked as a commercial photographer. Most of my clients were great, but a few liked to drag payment out or think they could just not pay me because they were a big company and I was just one guy. I had one assignment where I delivered about 24 images of models with their products. It was a pretty big deal for me. At every step of the way, they expressed their delight with all of the images I delivered. They'd paid me a third up front, and after delivering the images, I billed them for the balance. And I waited and waited and waited. Nothing. Every time I called, I got some excuse until they just stopped answering my calls. Then it happened. They published the images and in ways that went beyond what our licenses agreement had covered. So, not only had they not paid me for the usage we'd agreed to, they'd used the images in ways that went well beyond what we'd agreed to. They still weren't answering or returning my calls. Okay, they wanna fuck around. They're gonna find out. So one of the things in my standard licensing agreement is a condition that says, licensing is contingent upon payment in full. So by not paying me, all of the usage is considered infringement, not just usage outside of our agreement terms. One thing I did when setting up my business is establish a good relationship with a lawyer. It helps that my cousin is a lawyer with good friends. So I call my lawyer and detail everything that's gone down. He sends them a letter letting them know we intended to sue for infringement since the images were never licensed, and that the penalty is like $150,000 per image and block the use of the images altogether. I know they got the letter because they called me freaking out, offering excuses. We were in the process of paying you. It's been 3 months past the due date. Accusing me of poisoning our working relationship. If you wanted a good relationship, you would have stuck by your original agreement and paid me. I ended the call by telling them they needed to deal with my lawyer. They must have consulted with their own lawyer, who evidently told them just how fucked they'd be if they went to court over this. In the end, I settled for less than what I asked for in the initial demand, but it was far more than if they'd just paid me and negotiated for the additional usage.